Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at this really comprehensive analysis of a place called the Shale.
Oh,
It's a proposed community, massive, over 10,000 acres in Zavala County, Texas.
right.
And this thing is, well, it's not just an urban plant. It's a blueprint for what they call a metabolic socialist entity. So our mission here is to really get into the nuts and bolts.
The operating manual, basic.
Exactly. How its post-capitalist labor system and this truly unique neuro-inclusive design are actually supposed to function.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating is where they're building it. The
Yeah.
whole radical economy sits on this incredibly volatile foundation. It's on the North Ranch, so it has 6 miles of Neuces River frontage, which is key.
In the Golden Triangle, right?
Right. The river is vital for their hydroelectricity slate, but the region's climate is, let's just say, problematic. You see extreme hydrological volatility. I mean, huge floods historically, but now,
Now it's the opposite.
yeah, increasingly frequent periods of just zero flow.
So if the river's flow rate, the Q value, is completely unpredictable, what does that mean for their power grid? Practically speaking, they can't just rely on the river, can they?
No, absolutely not. It's a non-starter. They're forced into a hybrid system. River, solar, domestic wells, everything. And this instability isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's deliberately baked into their economy.
How so?
The cost of living is directly tied to the labor it takes to manage that constant flux. The instability is the job.
Which means you need an incredibly stable labor pool. That brings us to their economic engine. They get rid of currency entirely, and crucially, the whole idea of surplus value. It all runs on a principle called cost the limit of price.
And to boil that down, it just means the price of anything can never be more than the literal labor time it took to make it, the socially necessary labor time.
So no profit margins.
Zero. It makes capital accumulation physically impossible.
And instead of money, people get labor vouchers. The sources say they're non-transferable, and, this is key, they're nullified right after you use them.
Correct. Single use.
Wait, if they're single use, doesn't that make it impossible to, save up for anything big?
It's designed to. That non-circulating nature is the firewall. It stops a financier class from ever emerging. But they have a workaround, a dual voucher system.
Okay.
You get basic vouchers for your needs, food, sanitation, that's all covered. Then you get non-basic vouchers as a reward for difficult or specialized work. So contribution is still incentivized.
Okay, let's shift to the architecture, this metabolic design. The community is framed as a biological process.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You have this permanent infrastructure spine.
And the housing modules just plug into it.
They plug right in. But the key is that this architecture demands constant renewal.
So destruction for new growth.
Exactly. It's not just renovation, it's a built-in economic stabilizer.
How does that stabilize the economy?
Because you have to tear down old modules on a cycle, it guarantees that the maintenance and sanitation slates always have a steady demand for labor. It smooths out any boom and bust cycles.
And inside this structure, there's sensory urbanism. I find this part fascinating. It's designed to be the first neuro-inclusive city.
It is.
They use something called autistic music as part of the entertainment slate. How does that actually work?
It's a citywide utility, really. It works on 2 levels. First, as an acoustic mask.
Blocking out noise.
Right. Using subtle, nature-inspired sounds to mask jarring urban noise. Second, it's an adaptive soundscape. The sound actually changes depending on where you are and how you're moving to help with wayfinding and reduce anxiety for neurodivergent people.
Okay, and looping back to the labor part. To make all this work, you need workers to be available. Always.
Yes, and they solve that with a frictionless labor market. No job applications. You have the right to be reassigned daily if you want.
And you get paid to learn new skills.
You earn vouchers for mandatory education, yes. The goal is to make all workers imperfect substitutes for one another.
So in plain English, that means everyone is cross-trained enough to fill a gap somewhere else if needed.
Precisely. It makes the entire community's labor supply resilient to any one person's choices.
So when you put it all together, the Shale is this total reframing of human worth. It's not about what you own, but what you contribute, the quality of your labor.
In these essential slates, yeah. Land rehab, security, sanitation. It's a system designed for resilience, not for profit.
It's a fascinating model.
It really is. And it leaves you with a pretty provocative thought. You have a society that literally guarantees job security by scheduling its own destruction and uses music to manage the population's anxiety. It makes you wonder, when a society defines human value purely by labor, what does that do to the concepts of individual autonomy or even just the value of rest?